How to sign so many models, you quite literally will not even be able to take them all on. What's up guys, welcome back to another video. It is Mason or Money Mace here. And as you can see, title of this video, I'm going to be taking you through how you guys can go on to sign so many models that you literally want to be able to take them all on for your agency. And that is quite literally the probably best place to operate from as an agency owner. So without further ado, let me get right into the video. Firstly, who am I? Mason, Money Mace, 6-figure a month Onlyfans management agency owner. And I've been in the game of entrepreneurship and more specifically OnlyFans management coming up to 3 years now. So I know a thing or two when it comes to the agency space. Also, I run Double M Consultancy, which is a consultancy program centered around scaling of your OnlyFans management agency at every stage, from new beginners to pre-existing agency owners. Also, you also get a touch of life coaching in general from my accumulated lessons from my time in the game, which boy has it been vast, from my ups, my downs, what to do, what not to do, and the rest of it. And why should you listen to me? Well, don't listen to me, because quite frankly, I don't actually care. And if you do, and actually go on to listen and apply the advice that I'm about to give you in this video, well, your life might just improve, and it might improve to the level of your dream life, which I've relatively been able to achieve, and so I want to be able to do the same for you. We're here to make money. Do with this information as you please, but if you go on to ignore it, well, then you've just wasted a whole heap of time. Or if you go on to actually take action on it, then you're gonna utilize the time given and also probably go on to achieve a good level of success. And I don't even know why I'm making this video, probably because God told me in prayer that I should probably start giving back to people, and it's my higher calling to assist with people who was in a stage that I probably once was, and so that they can materialize their success a lot faster and actually progress in a quicker time frame. Also, YouTube is currently filled with just a bunch of bullshit jargon. The OnlyFans management info space is become awful. I just see an absolute 13-year-olds creating videos on how to sign creators, and they ain't even got a Scooby, right? It's crazy right now. You can literally check my YouTube, my Instagram, and even my Telegram for the history of my success in this field. And more recently, here's a few models that we have signed, pretty relevant to this video on how to sign creators. There's a couple we signed. Inbound lead for my Telegram and also one for my Instagram, which you can see this says Tuesday, and this was November 22nd. This video is likely to go out at the end of the week, so you can see that I really do what I'm talking about. I've been a little bit quiet in this space, guys, but it's time to make the comeback. Also, drop a comment below if you like this new style of video that I'm about to do. It's literally just going to be straight information based. You're just going to get the raw info that you can go take on to apply inside your agency. And I just know that you're going to learn a thing or two. Even I'm going to start with the basic thing of teaching you now is this isn't going to be sexy. I'm not going to teach you some AI, a logarithmic, flipping outreach a million creators in a single press of a button type method, because it doesn't exist. And if it did, everyone would use it. And if everyone used it, everyone would have unlimited creators. Right? Most of the time when you are going to be scaling any type of section of your agency, it comes from literally consistently doing the boring work. And what we're going to be getting into today is, I've already covered who am I, I've already covered why you should and shouldn't listen to me. We're going to get into the intro to the method of acquisition, which is going to be here, outbound, which is the main thing that we're going to be covering, inbound, and then other. Inbound, you've got personal brand networking. This is only going to apply to a subset of the people who watch this video, hence why it's going to be a smaller section inside of the program that we run. Obviously, we go into significantly more detail than what I'm going to be touching on here today. This is just going to be a top level overview so that hopefully some of you guys can kickstart some action and actually just get some progress underway. Hopefully before the year's out, we're coming into the end of 2025, no time to waste, get into a better position, and maybe 2026 can be your year. We've got hybrid, joining the two above, joining groups, buying contracts, ads, and all that good stuff. And then we get into the scaling section. This is probably going to be more focused on the pre-existing agencies. Well, now how do you actually scale the operation? So you've got a little MVP, little minimum viable product to market, you're doing a bit of outreach, but how do you actually get better at it? And how do you scale that within your agency? Without further ado, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I'm trying to deliver as much value within the shortest time frame, so keeping it efficient within this video. So let's get into it. Outbound. This is going to be the main bulk of this video because I feel like this is going to be relevant to most people, and this is probably the easiest place to start. So what we're going to be going through here is, outbound. We've got the variables. Actually, no, we haven't got the variables. The variables are in here. The variables as to what is pertinent to how well your outbound will have success. So what I mean by that is we're going to get into here about first principles thinking. And right before, let's just get into the types of outreach accounts you've got. You've got your personal account / augmented. What do I mean by augmented? I mean, Look, my profile is genuinely real. Like, I actually live this life, which is a massive positive and bonus, but some people don't, especially newer agency owners. Say you're just getting into the space, or say you don't really go out and about and just sit inside your bedroom and hustle at over 100k a month agency. Some people do. You might not have like these lifestyle pictures, and that isn't necessarily necessary. However, when I talk about augmented here, you probably want to, if you're going to be outreaching from a personal account, make it look legitimate. Make it look like it has authority. Make it look to a creator like somebody that she would want to work with. You know, a creator probably looks at my profile here and goes, okay, right, well, he's here and there. Well, that's quite a dream life. I probably want to live that as well. And I'll get into breaking down my account in just a minute. Then you've also got a model or / an augmented account. Again, you've probably got the luxury, if you are an existing agency owner, to log in and send DMs off your model's account. Now, if you've got a legitimate model account, this is going to have like one of the highest conversions because you can quite literally showcase your skill set in terms of if you're outreaching from a model who's going consistently viral and you outreach another creator who's not, and you go, hey, my dear, we can help you scale, obviously, not quite literally like that, then she's going to be like, oh my God, this model's performing so well. The team behind her must be significantly and amazing at their job. Let me just inquire about that. And then you've got augmented, because again, some people don't have the luxury of working with a creator. So I'm going to preface this by saying you should definitely get consent from any other creator that you're going to want to potentially utilize their content for to seem like a creator online. Just get your foot in the door with signing new models. And again, this is going to be model / talent scout. Or even if you're just going to be using a female's profile online, make sure that you get consent before doing that, because this can definitely help with conversions. And then you've got agency. I recommend just doing this as a bit of like a backup, in all honesty, because realistically, outreaching from an agency page is kind of cooked these days. Just going to be open and honest, I don't really need to go into that. Just know it is. Sending paragraphs from your agency page is so 2021. I don't even know if it was working back then either. Anyway, first principle thinking. So I just want to touch on this because, like with every video, and you're probably going to come to see, I always like to try and explain my frameworks of how I'm thinking, especially when I go into my program of people who join up in there. I don't really want people coming in just so reliant on me. It's like, yo, I'm trying to teach you the frameworks so you can go on to become a self-sufficient agency owner / entrepreneur. You know, in terms of when you approach outreach, I don't use to go, okay, right, this is one method, I'm going to follow it like a robot. I want you to be able to go, oh, okay, this is how Mason even approached trying to build like the outbound strategy, for example. Here's how I can maybe, now I understand that, here's how I can tweak and creatively touch on it in order to optimize it for myself personally. And that's what I really want to teach, like self-sufficiency. I feel like, you know, that's coming to its death these days. People are just not self-sufficient in any way, shape or form. And that beyond, you know, the methods and the things that you can copy within here on the YouTube channel and even in the program that I'm trying to teach, because I don't want a bunch of, hey Mason, what do I respond to this model? Hey Mason, well, what do I do in this situation? Well, hopefully you should be able to think for yourself by the point of having gone through all of this information. So there's a thing called the theory of constraints, and what that looks at is if you take all of these variables, put them all in a line. So you've got like your outbound account, you've got the account outbounded to, you want to look at how you can optimize every single stage of this so it's just a simple through flow of workflow, so to speak. You know, if your outbound account is god awful, well then it doesn't really matter what account you outbound to, because you're probably going to get like -1 conversion. However, if like this is optimal, this is optimal, this is optimal, then like you're going to have massive success. So first principle thinking, I literally got introduced to this by an 8-figure agency owner when I was talking about some problem, and he was just like, you just need to like continually drill down and break down the problem that you're encountering. And so like when we think about what is our goal here, well, it's conversion. It's to gather, you know, and the second goal, to gather a model's attention or a potential prospect, to nurture them into like a call booking, probably funnel, and then to close them and sign them to the agency. Like that's the goal. And so when we look at that goal and we just say, right, okay, and then what is the process that we take in order to do that? Well, you know, there's a few processes in terms of outbound, inbound, etc. We're talking about outbound right now. Well, then how can we actually take that goal, break down the process, hence here, and optimize at every single stage so we have the highest chance of success? Seems like common sense, but some people just don't do it, right? And I'm going to be breaking that down for you here today, so make sure that you tap in. We've got, like I say, bunch of source here. I've even got like some secret methods. I say secret, it's known, but some people don't know, and some people don't, like some people will know the methods as well, and they just don't even use them. So, you know, just for me to even be able to come on here today and remind you of some of the methods or some of the things that you should be doing might trigger in you to do them, and then from doing them, you get the result. And then you will be happier, and then I'll be happier that I helped you out, and, you know, there's positive flywheel of success in everyone's lives. Anyway, what's the goal here? Conversion, to sign models to your agency. First things first. First variable we've got here is your outbound account, and like I've already gone through here, you've got different accounts that you can try and outreach from, and I'm literally going to be taking you through my personal account so you can see one-to-one, oh, like Mason really has this stuff set up, and this is how he's done it, and this is why he's done it, more importantly. Anyway, we are in a trust economy, like quite literally. I mean, not only just OnlyFans creators, but businesses worldwide, the info space, everywhere. Everyone is basically just looking for legitimacy and authority. So when we think about our profiles that we're outreaching from, well, that's what we want to convey initially. I know a lot of people say, well, your marketing should do the work for your sales, and that's relatively how it is. And when you're talking about getting leads, well, outbound is a prominent way of getting leads, but it's just about how do we optimize our process and our conversion mechanisms within that process in order to have, like say, highest chance of success. Because you don't want to put, say for example, 2 hours worth of effort into a machine that doesn't even work versus putting 30 minutes into a well-oiled machine. You're going to get significantly better results out. And that is just where we can start to instill, manual forms of leverage within our processes. And, the more leverage you instill, the less effort you put in for the better result you get out. And, that's one of the biggest tenets of business. So you want to make your account look optimized for legitimacy and authority, because we are in a trust economy. And this is, again, pertinent to outbound and outreaching. So how? Let's take a little look below about how I go about it. And I'm by no means saying that I'm the best in the game. Like, you want to look at the profile funnel. Look at a guy called Nick Setting. That guy's a demon, right? But myself, I've got a pretty good profile. And here's the reason why I've set my profile up the way I have. I use this as a personal account alongside a business account. So hence why it's this kind of hybrid nature rather than optimized solely for one. Let's look at this picture of me in a PJ, right? Okay, probably stunting a little bit, but at the same time, at least I show the life I live, and I'm very fortunate to live this life. Praise the man above. But at the same time, I generally just show off my lifestyle and live a very good lifestyle. And what that showcases to models or anyone who comes to encounter me is like, okay, well, he lives like quote unquote a dream life, a life that I probably want to get a piece of or a part of. And I then obviously give ways that you can go ahead and do that, scaling OF models and OFM agencies to 100K plus per month. If you're either looking to grow, DM to work with me. Right, creating that authority, creating that I show and know how to take agencies and obviously models to 100K plus a month. Letting them know, just a simple CTA. If you are either looking to grow, DM to work with me. No hard CTA that I'm saying that, if you don't DM me, you're not going to succeed. It's very nice, very pleasant. I'm just stating my authority, and I'm also saying, like, if you do want the help, I'm here. Right? Got tagged my agency page, which I'll touch on in a minute, and I've got tagged my Telegram. This is probably more focused towards OFM agencies. And then also got here some highlight results of coaching clients, and then also model clients. Right, and then I've also just got like the highlights of me really living this life for such an extended period of time, which just shows that I can do what I do. And this altogether just showcases my personal account and some of the breakdowns on why I have implemented certain things. Now, when I go to DM a model, they might look, double M management. And I purposely put this as the front one because models probably aren't going to scroll through and just try and find like the one that is pertinent to them. Then they can click through, they can see the results that we've been generating, and then they can even see me helping out other agencies, which, not everyone's going to have this benefit, but I personally do, so I showcase it. And so going back to this, how can you succeed, right? This isn't about me, it's about you, right? So your personal account / augmented. So if we take it back to what I was saying, just realized this video is going to be super long, but super valuable. So get your notepad and pen out. Should have told you that earlier. Or augmented. But if you don't have the lifestyle to match up, if you don't have models at 100K a month, it doesn't actually matter, right? Because you can quite simply one-to-one replicate various parts of this profile, probably put your own creative spin on it and make it personal to you. But your profile, you can probably go to a few nice places, which we, recommend. It's quite simple to you and your friend go up to a nice coffee shop in London, go to a nice hotel, sit there, grab a coffee, grab a sparkling water, cost you £5. Get a nice picture looking like you are in and around these high-end luxury environments. Throw it up on the Instagram just to showcase that you are living this lifestyle, that you are somebody who a model in her eyes would probably likely want to work with because they also like this dream life. Most people who get into the space are getting into it for money, and what are they getting into the money for? Very rarely is to build some awesome investment portfolio, is to live like a nice lifestyle. Yeah, just showing you some behind the scenes of how I kind of like understood that and what I've seen in the past. Anyway, and then you can like quite quickly optimize your profile. You can put like results, and hell, if you don't even have results, go ahead and fake some, right? we're here to get to this money, guys, right? And I don't know why so many people be like, oh, well, I don't know if I can't do that, whatever. But just go ahead, fake some results, put them on your Instagram. So long as you promise that you are definitely going to try your very hardest to deliver the result once you do sign the model, then, you know, you're not going to get the law of reciprocity of bad karma in your way. If you're an existing agency owner, showcase some of your model's results. Showcase what you're actually doing for them, break it down a little bit, and further build that trust, that legitimacy, and that authority. Right, and then obviously, you know, why are we doing that? Because if a model jumps onto your profile, right, and she says, oh, right, like Mason actually achieved model results, he's actually someone I want to work with. I've all the hard parts done already. If I've already like got into the conversation with her, nurtured her, got on the call, she's like, oh yeah, well, she already knows that I can do what I do, right? So it makes things significantly easier when I go to pitch at the end. I have less resistance because I've already basically done like a pre-call nurture sequence from my profile. I hope this is all making sense. You know, this seems like a bit like common sense, but I'm kind of like breaking down every single little stage just so you're fully aware. And guys, if you have any questions like that crop up, just comment them down below. I think I'm even going to leave my personal Telegram down below, so you can go ahead and message me directly. You know, message me some of your problems, message me some of your wins. I want to hear what other people are doing in the industry. And I might be able to just drop a quick voice note back explaining either how I can help you or just giving some simple quick life advice on what you can do in order to solve your situation. But most part of this video should help that. Let's get into the next stage. I don't think I've got anything left to cover here just yet. Have like a highly optimized profile for conversion. And if you just, again, you just keep drilling deeper from first principles thinking into, okay, well, what would a optimized profile look like? I've already shown you here, like the main points. You know, you might find like some super small point, but you know, okay, say even another one is you might have testimonials on here from your models, and you might, hell, if you've got your models to actually do testimonials, you can add that. You can get a UGC creator to do it and add that, whatever it is, right? I don't care, I'm just talking about conversions here and different ways that you could optimize your profile, but you can see how I start to think, and hopefully you can just take this away from this video and actually go and like implement some stuff yourself. Without further ado, getting into the next part. This video is going to be so long. A model account / talent scout. So here, I think I was already mentioning this above here. Like if you've got a model account, then go ahead and use it. Miss Sophie Rain here, the godmother of Onlyfans. If you've got a models account, go ahead and use that. Like if Sophie Rain DMs your chick, just wish her well. Like say goodbye. Because Sophie Rain's literally got the biggest social proof. That's the key point here. In terms of that she can achieve what she says she can or would be able to for the model she's DMing. So if you have working model accounts, you can literally just utilize those for your outbound. DMing other creator accounts, and if you've got very good working accounts, then it just shows that you as the team behind them do definitely provide the results, and you know that is quite appealing for most models because they want results as well. So you have a model account / talent scout. So I was saying, in terms of the above, if you don't quite have access to a model right now, this is actually a great method, but you can go ahead and create like a quote unquote fake model account. I was going to say, I preface it by saying like, get consent from whatever content it is that you are using, just to ensure that you are in line with compliance. Get consent from a girl you know, or from one of these creators online, whatever it is. And if you don't, that's not on me. I've told you guys the best way to operate, right? Which I'll always do. And then you can take this from a model's account perspective or a talent scout. So, hey, you know, if you are not doing it from like an actual model on the platform, but you do create like a sort of girl influencer account, which can still very much work. Like, for example, you might have like Sophie, like without the link or whatever, but she just looks like this kind of influencer from LA, Miami or whatever. And you say like, hey, I'm the talent scout, double M management, and I was just reaching out. Your profile has like such insane potential. We just wondered if you was open for a quick conversation about blah, blah, blah. This, I'm not getting into an outbound script now, but you get the picture. There's two different ways you can take it. And again, optimizing the profile. So again, this being one of like the biggest variables, or like the first variable that you touch on, the outbound account. And I'm going into quite a lot of detail here, but hopefully this shows you guys. Then you got your agency account. This is mine. Nothing special, guys. Honestly, you probably thought you was going to come down here and see something extravagant. I've got a pretty basic agency profile. This you can make up from like my logo. I made up, I don't know, I think I actually went to a logo designer because I wanted one made up. Results, all this stuff can be made on Canva. If you've got a girlfriend, ask her to do it. That is literally what I did, and it saved me significant time and headache. But if you don't have that luxury, then go ahead onto Fiverr and ask them with your agency branding. Go to Pinterest. The SOP is go to Pinterest, get some lifestyle pics, slap your agency branding because of your color schemes onto it. Probably going to go to my profile and steal some of these anyway. Go and find like cool girl quotes, merge the two, put them together, becomes an Instagram post. Easy as. And then you've got results and lifestyle here. Again, Pinterest and results I don't even think I actually have many results in my highlight because I haven't gone so hard on this page, but I've got them here, so I'm okay. Yeah, simple, like again, agency logo. Don't need to overthink it. Get this done within an hour. You're done for the rest of your life. Oh, buy some followers from SMM panel. Same what you can do here. Same what you can do here in the augmentation process if you don't, have the results that you want in terms of that. And then, yeah, achieving your dream life without the stress of doing it all yourself. Just a simple little, I should probably put a CTA in this bio. There you go, guys. I'm not perfect. But again, that's because I don't really use that. I more so use this or models accounts. This more here, like I say, is a backup so that if a model potential lead goes, oh yeah, well, what is your agency? Who are they? You just send them this. And, quite simple agency page is very sufficient for them to go, oh, this is quote unquote a level of legitimacy that they are willing to accept. Next, right, because we've gone quite into accounts here, which I guess is a pretty big variable. Hopefully it's extremely valuable of me doing that because it will then lead us into the next thing. I say accounts outbounded too. Oh, let me touch on this quickly because I'm not even sure where I have put it in. Maybe I put it here in outbound message. Oh yeah, I put it in here. So outbound message, what is the goal here? The goal is to get attention. And I'm not going to be giving you away full scripts here, but I'm going to give you a little top line overview of some things that you can do, some things that you can literally quite go ahead and do from take it away from this video. But remember, there might be like 500 plus people that watch this video, hopefully. Might be 1,000 plus people. This video might reach 2.5k people. And if all of you went away and used the exact same wording that I go and give you here, well then guess what? We're going to have these models DMs filled up with all of the same message and none of us are getting replies, right? So what is the goal here? It's to get attention. And what I say here, the framework is be creative and or lead with value. Here's a very simple one. Like I was literally creating this document to relay to you guys and created like, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half or two. And like quite simply, I was just like reeling off the top of my head some of this stuff. And so like, this is something that we used to use. Name, I got to ask, right? Sparks curiosity. Models are thinking, what has this guy got to ask to me? And again, this is going to be also relevant to which account you are outreaching from, but let's just say personal for now. So remember, like you've got all like the variables that you optimize, and then you've got like the next subset of variables, which you would then go on to optimize, which is say, for example, the account that you're outreaching to, the outreach message. And then these variables also change compared to these variables. Like, it's a whole process. Like people think that, oh, it's just send a DM. And yeah, that is like the MVP that you put to market, the minimum viable product. However, if you're really looking to try like optimize and scale this system, then, you optimize at every touch point that you can possibly do in order to make this a smooth flowing, well-oiled system. As I said, more leverage. Firstly, name, I got to ask. This isn't super creative, but I'm not about to give out all of my source within this free online YouTube video. It's for the guys inside of WM Consultancy. But what we've got here is your outbound message. So here, your section to opened message and her to reply. Name, I got to ask, and be like, oh, what is that? Per se next, we'll get into this in nurture sequence. We're staying on outbound message. Hey, I noticed the hooks in your recent reels could have been a little stronger. Give me 30 seconds, I can explain how. You've led with value. So like you've just said almost there, like, and you've kept the caption quite short and succinct. So you got to think these models are going through like footballers in the DMs, simps in their DMs, other agencies in their DMs. What is going to make you stand out? Firstly, your profile. Secondly, I should also probably get this profile verified. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. I'm going to do that probably after this video. Just had a random thought. Again, not perfect, guys, but I still achieve success. You don't need to be perfect. Just take action. I noticed that the hooks in your recent videos could have been a bit stronger, whatever, right? So you can either lead with value and that can get some attention, actually point something specific out. Again, this is pretty generalized. You can use this on probably every video. And then name, I got to ask, is just like a bit more of a general one, like sparking that curiosity. And you got to think about when you are trying to solicit a response, curiosity is one of the biggest like things you can lean on. So I definitely recommend that. Don't do, oh my God, you got leaked on X, and then also don't do just like some mega paragraph on like who you are, why they should work with you, your pitch and all this shit. Like it just doesn't work. Like if I'm me, right, let alone I just see like a paragraph, I'm definitely not reading it. Especially if I've been sitting on Instagram and my mind's fried from doom scrolling for hours on end, because that is an activity that I do. Right, then you're gonna it's a joke, guys. Then you're gonna like not go to your request section and just read some fuck off paragraph about like someone who says that they can change your life with like zero proof or legitimacy, right? So don't do that. And then definitely don't do this whole like, oh my God, you got leaked on X. It actually like kind of works to solicit a response, but just don't be that guy. You want some longevity within the process that you're building within your agency. Next, who you send the message to matters as well. So this actually probably should have been like an entire section, to be honest. I know why I didn't do that. Let's make it a heading. Make it bold and underline it. So who you send the message to matters like quite significantly. I see people who are just like spamming out messages to like quite obviously agency ran accounts, or just to like creators that they wouldn't even want to work with in the first place. Like what you can do is here, you can probably optimize your time. Maybe you spend a little more, but you actually have better like targeting towards the accounts that you outreach. I'd probably recommend outreaching models anywhere between like 2 to 7,000 and then 7,000 to 25,000 followers, especially for like maybe a smaller agency. You know, if you're a big agency with big Instagram accounts, well, hell, you can hit anyone up all the way up to varying degrees. Usually it helps if you've obviously got the upper hand, that authoritative position of more followers than the other girl, as these girls these days really rank their self-worth on followers. So if a girl with more followers DMs them, then they're probably going to feel inferior. That's just the game. So who you're sending the message to really matters. Like, is this actually a creator that you want to work with? Like, are you just going to DMs? Like, maybe if you're at a starting stage, you don't really care because you're trying to get some skin in the game and learn like the on-account approach. But versus if you're actually like an existing agency where you probably don't want to work with just anyone, like even to be honest, those 2 inbound leads you saw me got above, like I didn't go on to end up working with them. The contract signed wasn't the same creators who inbounded with me. I had the call with them and they just weren't really fit for what I deem, you know, a good working model for my agency. And that's just part of the game. But again, like that's a beautiful position to be in, to actually deny inbound requests, right? And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to do. And this entire framework of what we build here is going to be like putting yourself in the best position to win. Also think about, like, this is a little side note. So if you're up to this point in the video, then God, you've already taken on tremendous value. But a little side note is build yourself for longevity in this game. If you're going to be in OnlyFans management for months on end, years on end, then here's like my advice. Here's what I would have done differently if I was to turn back time. I would have started to optimize for some of these things significantly more. I would have like, if I'm already doing personal brand, then you might as well go all in and do it intentionally and really just optimize all of these facets. From like an agency account, I would have built one up better. Personal account, I would have optimized further for the front end of signing clients more. Model accounts, I would have maybe, I don't know, model accounts come and go, so not really much you do in those, but maybe I've built out my army of model accounts a little bit better of talent that I am currently working with, and just had like a lot more accounts that I'm outbounding from that are posing as my model. Again, this is probably going to be touched on in the scaling stage if we ever get to that today. But yeah, who you're sending the message to matters, right? So keep that in mind with the DMs that you are sending out. Now let's get into the nurture sequence, because now you've DM'd the model, she's replied, what do you do next, right? You don't shit yourself because a hot female has finally replied to your message. You just get into the next stage of the sequence. And what is the goal here? The goal is to move the lead from a place of not knowing to trust and intrigue, or probably to intrigue and then trust, right? So this one's a little harder to script due to the intricate nature of responses. Here you either have game or you don't, like quite simply. And guess what? If you don't, it's actually not a bad thing. I think I touch on this in a minute. But if you have no game, then maybe you need to run some pimping Ken and brush up on your skills. But anyway, you know your goal is to sign this creator. And you got to remember, keep in mind, like when your goal is to sign the creator to actually deliver them value. Like don't just be signing the creator to try to take half their earnings. Like that's when negative karma is actually going to impact you. But you've got to remember, you're actually signing this creator to deliver her value and scale her account. So you're actually doing like a positive thing, like it's actually a benefit her to work with you. So you've got to remember that frame as well. Anyway, you know the goal, and so you know roughly, if you actually just think about it for a minute before replying, what you could say to further this conversation along. Let me try and muster up an example, like this is from an inbound lead, but say from an outbound lead. Muster an example off the top of my head. Name I gotta ask. Haha, yeah, what is that? Yeah, I mean, like I've just come across your profile. And I had to ask, like, are you currently working with a team or not? I mean, there's a few things that we see we could probably optimize. Keep it short and simple. Haha, no, I'm not working with a team at the minute. I just left my last agency because they're a bunch of dickheads. Perfect, right? So you can just like quite simply keep things very casual, keep things very polite, but keep things a little bit more calculated. Like just know what you should probably say to get to the next stage of where you want to get to. And like the end stage is progressing to a phone call. For those that don't understand basic human psychology, well, literally don't fret, because the more volume that you put into doing this activity right here, and the more nurture sequences that you enter and fail, you're about to learn the hard way of how to then optimize yourself personally. So you want to get the prospect knowing who you are, what you do, and an insight to how they can help you, or an insight to how you can help them, right? And in terms of that, like you don't have to just drop this huge paragraph of who you are. You can just keep it very conversational. That's what most females appreciate. I've come to realize, like, and you guys hopefully do know already or will come to realize, most females in this industry, they're not like corporate. They didn't go down the corporate route for some good reason, right? They don't want these long drafted emails written by ChatGPT with terms and conditions. They want a conversation. They want to work with someone who gets them the desired result, who they like, You know, they're very emotional creatures, so they tend to, you know, go off of how they feel rather than the logic of being with the best agency in the world to provide them the best results. They'll rather go with somebody who they like. So here you want to keep things quite light-hearted, jovial, but to the point, right? And okay, well, how do I do all of this? Well, again, it's very situational, conversation by conversation. So as you are entering, okay, I don't know what went on there. As you are entering into like the conversation, you just want to generally progress it down to the point of just like, hey, like I've noticed that you're a creator that could be performing a lot better. We actually help creators with that. And, you know, I'm Mason, for example, and I'm an agency owner. I've been running an agency for like years now. We see like definitely a good few ways that you're currently not like leveraging certain ways that you could be performing better, which should, you know, take off your workload and actually provide you better results in a more efficient manner. Generally around this jargon, right? And you're going to tailor this to the conversation. Again, like what I've touched on there is an insight, who I am, what I do, and obviously you help create scale. The next point is you want to kind of get off Instagram like as soon as possible, because like deals can get closed in the DMs, but at the same time, like most probably don't, and you kind of want to like understand this in terms of getting off IG, because at this point you need time right. At this point you need to time it right, so you can't just like she just replied and you go, cool, send me your number, right? You know, she's got no trust in you. She doesn't know who you are. She probably doesn't want to give up her Instagram to a random dude on Instagram. Like, it's not going to be right. But if you've built a bit of rapport in the DMs and then you go, okay, right, let's move this to WhatsApp. Like, my DMs get flooded. I know yours do too. And then you kind of keep it very blasé. And you go, oh yeah, no worries. Like, let's go. Right? And you move the prospect from IG to their phone number, WhatsApp, or iMessage, because it's 10x more personable. Now your response rate to your even just like simple messages, when you're now going to try and triage for a phone call, is going to go up significantly. So yeah, like I say, it's just a lot more personable. I don't feel like I really need to explain or touch on that too much. You should be able to understand that. Progression to a phone call. This is not a retard. I do not make any income guarantee or claims because I do not know what exact person has clicked on this video or is consuming this content. So this is usually a straight line, forward, simple selling pitch where 99% of phone calls can get closed. And like I said here, this is where you really get to run your sales game. What is going on with this dictionary? Right? This is where you really get to run your sales game. And why is that? Because here's literally where you can open up like a very, I guess, quote unquote, formal / informal conversation. But here's where you can really move the prospect in that emotive way down to the point of signing. And so on the phone, you can get so much more information out of them. You can actually portray so much more information as well. And overall, it's just going to be it's the best way to do it. You know, texting back and forth won't ever allow you to get all of your information fully across, nor allow you to run like your sales game, quote unquote. Here's a key point. Don't worry about sending invite links to Zoom meetings at 2:15 p.m. on Wednesday, the 26th. Ask what is a good time to call and call them. Right, like quite simply. I see too many agencies, like especially newer in the game, like, hey, I'll have my assistant send over a Zoom link. Like some models will be like, yeah, that's so great. They're very professional. And this might work for bigger creators, right? But for newer, like smaller amateur creators, they don't really care. Like the most part of the like conversational calls that I take with models now, I just be like calling them up, right? That's what they prefer. Again, it's very much more personal. They're not in this corporate lifestyle. That's not what they're aiming for. That's not usually, again, like we're talking from a probabilistic nature, which is how you should probably live your life if you want to just optimize for success. Then putting every odd in your favor, then you just want to do what works. And, you know, sending them a Zoom link at 2:15 p.m. on a Wednesday, then you've got to try and increase show-up rates, which I've got another video on my channel as well about how to increase show-up rates for your call. I'll probably try and link that down below because that will also give you good information on what you can do before this to actually make sure they show up for the call. Side note, the whole point of this is to sign a model to actually deliver them the result. Just thought it was worth mentioning. I said this in like a couple of points above as well, is because some people like forget the whole point of why they're trying to sign a model is to, you know, generate revenue, not only for yourself, but also them as well, take on the workload for them and actually deliver the revenue increase. Just thought I should mention that as well. So yeah, the whole point of trying to progress it to a phone call, because on the phone is where you can obviously like, one, understand their pain points, and then obviously pitch them at the end your services so that you can try and proceed from there. Taking the call. I've already covered this in depth in another video on this channel, but like just anyway, let's go over a quick little top level overview. The first thing is the goal here is to convert the lead into a signed model. So the goal from here is like you've already done the hard part. You've done the outbound message, you've done the nurture sequence, you've got off of IG, you're now messaging on WhatsApp, you've then scheduled a time to call, and now you're like, right, it's 6 p.m, it's go time, it's time to call her, right? And so here's a good few points you should take through this as well. And this is going to be massively valuable to people. But like I said, I've done a whole video on this here, like literally a 25-minute video on calls exactly. But let me just go through this. So don't be weird. Relax. I know talking to a beautiful female can be daunting for some of you, especially when she's about to turn your life around and make you thousands of dollars. Just be normal, right? And how do we do this? Because I know for some people they don't actually know. I've taken like hundreds of model phone calls these days. It literally doesn't faze me whether it's a model phone call or my mum on the phone. I'm the same dude, relatively. Right? So, hey, how are you? How's your day? I love this weather card. I think I've touched on this in the video as well, because this is an easy one to build rapport and break the ice, right? Like, this is some double M game. And if you use this one, hats off to you. Like, I commend you if you do it. So, hey, let's say her name's Stacy. Hey, Stacy, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I'm well. Oh, yeah, how's your day been? You been up to much? Oh, yeah, no, I've just taking the kids to school, and I've got them tucked up in bed now. Oh, amazing, that's nice. Where is it you said you're based again? Oh yeah, I'm just based down in south of London, right? Oh my god, no way, like I'm just up the North London. Weather's awful at the minute, isn't it? She's like, oh my god, yeah, it's freezing today, right? All of a sudden, right, you're into this conversation, right? And it's just like, I've used that card so many times. It works so effectively. Like, even you call them on, she's like, oh yeah, I'm in Bali right now. Oh my god, that's amazing. It's super humid over there. It's like, yeah, weather's lovely, blah blah blah. And then, like, you're into this conversation. All of a sudden, like, her nerves have gone from like up here to down here, and you're also now able to just like operate like an effective wavelength. I don't know if I'm giving out too much sauce. Like, this stuff is pretty golden. Yeah, stuff that we're actually going to cover like in significant more depth in the program is like crazy, because we actually go into like way different ways you can approach this, just in all the different manners. But again, what I always try to teach, I don't know if I put it here, this is just like the no bullshit method. Like, I'm just trying to teach you guys the value and so how you can just go and, level up your agency, level up your life in the shortest time frame possible. So let's get to here, and then respect time and get right into it. Yeah, so I usually I'll run the weather card, right? Run what they're up to in the day, and just be like, look, I don't want to press you for time at the same time with myself. Like, you're all right if we just get right into things. And they should be like, yeah, cool. Intro questions. So this is where you gather your ammo. I say gather your ammo. This isn't war, but it technically is on a sales pitch or call. So tell me more about yourself. And then again, I've put reverse qualification. I'll go into that in a sec. So tell me a bit more about yourself. Like, what stage are they at? Where how are things going? Whatever. And so just take some notes as well, because you'll reference this later in the call. How long you've been on the platform? Because if your model turns around, so let me break down why I'm saying this. If she turns around and goes, oh yeah, I've been on Onlyfans for 7 years, and her account has made $200 total during that time, well, quite clearly there's a problem and she needs help, right? Whereas if she's like been on the platform for a couple of months, well, also she still might need help because she doesn't know how it all works or how to work effectively. If she's been on there for 2 years and not achieved her goal of 10k a month, well, again, she probably needs help. Again, she might turn around and say like, oh yeah, I've been on the platform for 4 years, I'm actually doing like 50k a month. She might have like an extensive understanding of the platform, maybe more than what you know, right? And so then again, you're probably gonna need to tailor your conversation and understand that, because you don't want to slip up and say the wrong thing. Now, brief overview of the past, like, yeah, again, kind of touched on that there. Where are things at currently? This is going to be useful for yourself. You probably don't want to be signing like super small creatives if you're a bigger agency, because sometimes it could be more operational headache. So I'm not going to touch on that in this video, but how to like be judicious with your pickings. I might do that in another video. Existing social media, because this can be quite helpful. Can you optimize on something based or to see everything new? Worked with agencies before. So like, this is usually good. I like this question because like, if they turn around and say yeah, they've usually had a bad experience. And so like, you can just laugh this one off, and like, it's so easy to just like say that you provide a significantly better experience, level of work, whatever. Experience, so how much experience they've got. And then you can go, oh, amazing, right? And then you introduce yourself, and then you kind of like touch on your offer. Always just say like 24/7 chatting, social media management, everything operationally, so all they do is content creation. Simple. You go, oh, look, do you have any questions for myself? Amazing. So if this all checks out, then you can pitch like your percentage. And I like to pitch like between a 50 and 60%. So like if they've got like no social media, they've not worked with agencies before, they've not got much experience, well then probably going to want to pitch like 60-65%, especially just for like the first 3 months, and it's open for negotiation. Because I'm not gonna, if you're doing absolutely everything, like you're starting everything from scratch, and like genuinely all they have to do is the content, like you're gonna be doing so much, and you actually have to be reciprocated for that. And if you don't go on to work more, like say for example she's like, yeah, but I only want to give you like 25%, you say yes, your margin is going to be negligible. You might as well go work at McDonald's. Like, you would actually genuinely make more money and time ROI for doing so. And I'm not even going to go into like, how you could potentially sign them all at 25% if they've already got existing infrastructure and where your agency's at, etc. Because, you know, that's some like high level shit that we're not getting into right now. And so then you go into a Q&A, and then obviously you could, if all checks out and sounds good, you know, you probably want to actually like introduce your pitch now. So pricing, so how much percentage you charge, because, you know, predominantly we do work on equity models. We don't ever really work on retainer models. If all sounds good, like, hey, here's how it works. Like, here's the process of onboarding, right? And so then you can go into like, I'm just going to send you the contract right after this. If it all checks out, just get that signed for us, and then I'll be whatever your onboarding process is, right? They get it signed, and you proceed to onboarding. I'll probably do a video on my onboarding process at some point. Great, where did we get to? But I'll probably touch on that in a separate video because it doesn't need to be touched on here about how exactly I do it. What is going on? Common Docs, stop showing me up here. But we got through it. So now you've got a model signed pretty much from Outbound, right? Wasn't so hard, was it? And so now let's actually like touch on like, okay, well, how does this work? Well, guess what? You literally send so many DMs that it makes it impossible for you to not like start to get some data back from this. And this is probably going to be touched on in the scaling protocol. But you send enough DMs so that you can have enough conversations, so that you get your data back, so you figure out what works and you figure out what doesn't, so that you have enough calls, so that you have the potential to sign on models. Like, the results come from just doing the boring work like over and over again. And that is just the game. And that's the game in any business model. Like, if you want more leads, well, you go out and you do the activity that generates more leads. And we just touched on their Outbound. There's obviously many others that we're about to get into. But at the same time, that's just it. Like, you know, you don't need to overcomplicate. So yeah, anyway, side note, if you think, you know what, this actually makes a lot of sense. Mason's dropping a lot of value here. And then hopefully it might just prompt you to take action in the right direction, because that's another massive thing, right? People will be taking significant amounts of action. They're like, oh my God, I worked so hard. I did a 12-hour day in the wrong direction with no leverage, right? And so that's where I can come in and actually help you like course correct, and so that your effort and attention, because no one's got a problem with sitting at the desk and working. It's just about what you are working on in order to achieve your result, right? And so that's where I can come in. Essentially, if this all sounds good to you, then you can contact me to join Double M Consultancy for the full blueprint on how to start and or scale. We mainly focus on existing agencies and scaling up your very own agency, the non-bullshit way. Like, I'm not here to give you some like fancy schmancy, some outdated method, or, you know, ways that you could potentially try and scale your agency. Like, we're just here to like look at what you've got going on, how you can optimize, cut that low-hanging fruit, and then scale. Clean and simple. Like Tony, who joined at 10k a month here and went on to 30, or my French students who joined at 50k a month and now went on to 200k a month, and they're probably floating more around like 400 plus right now. But you can go check these videos out separately if that's something that you want to understand in further depth. Back to the video. We've now progressing a little bit. So inbound, you've got personal brand and content, or you've got networking, and this is the secret sauce. Like, I'm gonna touch on a couple of like stories here, which are just insane, guys. Like, this shows you, I wouldn't even necessarily say it's luck, but definitely some stories about positioning, leverage, and different ways that you can utilize, you know, what you have available to you in life in order to go ahead and sign models. Personal brand. I'll keep this short and succinct because this is not for everyone, so it's going to be a smaller point. The goal is to get inbound leads from distributed social media content. Think about your message, targeting, and conversion mechanisms. So this can even be a totally separate account to your main account. Like I said, like, you might have your personal account with your family on, and then all of a sudden you start dropping OFM value videos. Well, they're going to be thinking, what the fuck? And you might want it to be a little bit more anon. You can just create up a separate account. You can use a social media panel in order to like get some followers and stuff in. You can use fake results, or you can use real results, depending on if you've got an agency or not. And just basically here, we're just utilizing every unfair advantage to optimize for conversion. So that's like the main point of this video, without every action you're taking. So if you're comfortable with creating content, you can use this relative content framework below, hook, retain, reward framework. I believe Alex Hormozy gave that out. And here's a content example just for you guys who are actually considering doing it. Say, for example, you've got an Instagram account and you're trying to like target creators for like inbound. Obviously, you set your profile up well, how I kind of already showed you above. You go, are you a creator struggling to crack 10k a month? Are you a creator struggling to crack 10k a month in 2025? If you are, then you've just landed on the right video. Give me just 26 more seconds, and I'll give you 3 ways to break that glass ceiling. Right? I'm not going to touch on like every single which way that why this content's good, but it just is. 26 more seconds, a bit more intriguing. 10k a month is a buzzword. You've landed on the right video, making them feel special. Create more content, create better content, begin to hire a team, right? And what does this do? Well, this is obvious stuff that they know. This here insinuates that they should be working with an agency, right? Like, everything that I do is like a little bit more calculated than what the usual man will do. If you want my 5-step brain work, how we took this new creator from 13K in 2 months, then comment the word OF and I'll send it over to you. Boom, then you get the lead in your DMs, right? And I've literally thought about this on the spot in about 26 seconds. So with a bit of thought, I'm sure that you could do better. And again, like this whole framework here, again, you can just extrapolate these points for YouTube. Use ChatGPT. Hey, I've got this long form content script. Can you turn this into a long form YouTube video? Be a bit more creative, but you get the general gist. And you're just going to be creating content on Instagram, TikTok, and usually YouTube in order to try and gather your ideal prospects, so your ICP being Onlyfans creators, attention, and then use, like, again, as I've used in this video, different conversion mechanisms to put them through with some proof that you've got here, some insinuations that they should be working with a team, and just really calling out the ideal client. So yeah, again, you can set up your personal brand to do so in this manner. And this is probably like the longest or like the biggest lever that you can pull. Because if you start this now and you're going to be in the game for a year or two, well, in a year or two, you're going to have so much proof that you are who you say you are, that you've done what you say you can do. And this just goes in your favor. Like, you won't even be having to jump on, like I said, inbound. You won't even be having to jump on model calls. Models will be applying for your agency. Like mine here, look at how small my personal brand is. And I'm getting inbound leads because models want to work with me. So you can only imagine what you could do if you built this up over a long enough time period and how well this could work. Let's get into networking, because this is the secret sauce that I love. If you're still at this point in the video, shout out to you, because you've got the attention span not of a goldfish, of somebody who wants to succeed. Networking / referrals. Again, this won't be for everyone, but those comfortable, this is literally the secret sauce that took my agency from around 150k per month up to 450k in revenue. And this is like, yeah, Sunday, 31st December. This was a little while ago, back when the agency was doing, when I had my old business partner and we'd moved to Manchester. But this is just like me showing proof that this is literally what happened. And this here is about networking, talking to people, positioning yourself for a greater chance to have potentially valuable conversations with people who can refer you models. That's like the whole goal, right? And so let me touch on here about when I moved to Manchester. So I'm like from like a small town just outside of London, not got some like super horrible family. Like I got a great family, I got a great home life, like middle class or some shit. But me and my boy knew it was time that as we had some success, we need to move somewhere a bit better, like optimize our environment for more success as such. So we moved to Manchester, to the Towers, Deansgate Towers, which is just like, we knew there's a bunch of models here. We knew it's a hotspot for entrepreneurship. We had some good results already with OnlyFans management. So we was like the new dogs or like the underdogs had pulled up here. We start making a name for ourselves. A few of the creators there had started like getting wind that we was the new boys up in here who like spin up models and just know what we're doing. They've approached us. And then anyway, the moral of the story is like, my partner was sitting down in the cafe one time, got talking to another gentleman who was friends with a model, told him what we do, told him what we can do, kept it nonchalant. Like, yeah, obviously then pitched him about having referrals. So we just said like, look, here's what we can do. If you sign any models to our agency, like we can just give you a little kickback. Guy was like, yeah, great, sounds amazing. So then he obviously went back, signed one of the creators to our agency, and we took her from like, I think like she did like $59 the last month. Then she went on within 2 months to do like 30k. So then we had that success story from when from where we was then located, and then the word got out, and then we signed more creators, we signed bigger creators, other creators went on to take from like 5k to 140k a month, and we were just them guys, right? And that's how quickly like it can catch fire. But this was a long-term play. Like I literally physically moved from my hometown just outside of London up to Manchester and then lived there for a year, and it took time to build up. Like this didn't happen in the first week. This probably happened over the course of a few months. Romanian taxi driver story. This is just a funny story. If you got to hear, you probably might know this story already. If not, I was literally in Romania for about 20 hours. Like I had to go there to sort some like business tax thing that I was sorting out over there. And when we was, setting up in multiple jurisdictions, as we landed, we got there, went straight to the casino. This isn't part of the story, but this is just how funny life works. Went to the casino, woke up the next morning, got picked up by our driver, started talking with our driver. Anyway, as we pull up to the office on where we're meant to go in, we're an hour early. So the taxi driver pulled up an hour early. So we sit there. I'm kind of sitting there, my biz partner. We're chopping up some game. All of a sudden I look up and I'm like, look at the guy in the front. Look what the taxi driver's doing. Guy's sitting there, 7 a.m., crack of dawn, not had a coffee yet, right? Tired. He probably had about 3 cigs already on the way to this office. He's sitting there swiping on Facebook, just like tapping through girls' accounts like a pest, like an absolute pest, just like swiping. And what's the moral of this story? Because we was just like, hold on, maybe this guy knows something that we don't. And so then we said to him, because then he was just like, okay, why are you here? We told him why we're here. We told him what we do. And we said to him, yo, like if you can refer models to us and we scale them up, we give you a kickback on a percentage. He's a Romanian taxi driver making basically nothing. He was like, wow, that sounds amazing. And he actually referred us like multiple models over the course of a few months. We didn't really go on to work with too many as they were super low quality. But the moral of the story is anyone can be a referral, right? Literally anyone. I've literally had like people in my local town who now know who I am and what I do, and they've tried to like put through forward models to me because they can also achieve and also get this percentage kickback. And again, I touch on this in a significant more detail in the program, but like, you know, a general overview is you just want to give these people probably like a 5 to 10% kickback on models' earnings. Maybe cap it off a year, but I usually just give lifetime because, you know, if I can make another guy X amount money pretty passively, then if he's happy and satisfied, well, he's probably going to be likely to bring me more referrals. Game for you guys. You know, I shouldn't even probably be breaking this down here on YouTube, but like I said, if you can just take one thing from this video and just take action on it, then very good. And this works in tandem with personal brand building and location placing. I didn't really have a big personal brand, but I can imagine if I had bigger when I headed to Manchester, then it further, again, puts in people's mind that authority, that legitimacy and stuff like that. And people just want to be knowing you these days. Like, social media is such a big currency. I'm not even going to lie, guys. Like, you need to start recognizing this. And not everyone has to do it. I know friends who make well over, I know friends who make millions. I know a 9-figure kid, right? He doesn't even have social media. He's 21. Like, what the fuck, right? But not all of us are that fortunate to have the skill set that he has been placed or the pathway that God has put him on. So we have to optimize for what we need, what we can do in order to have better success within our life. And personal brand building is one of them which can significantly help. Also in line with location placing. But let's get into other, so I can kind of like start to look to wrap this video up a little bit. But you've got joining groups and reaching others' dust. So you've got groups such as, like, we've got our higher level program here, WM Consultancy. We've got another product that I own is called OF Money, which is, you know, a lifelong group which has been going for a few years now with 300 plus members inside of there. And then you've got like a bunch of other free groups, which I'm not going to list here. You can probably find them if you do a bit of research in this space. Now you can pay for access to join some of these groups, and obviously then you get access to the network. And then some of them are also free. And what you can do in here, you can pitch fellow agents to manage models that they cannot take on for a percentage kickback or a flat fee for the lead, right? So quite simply, there's like, even me now, like I said, I didn't take those 2 creators on. Well, they just went right inside of my program to any other people who have the ability to take on some of these creators, right? Or that those creators do line with what their agency is willing to take on, quote unquote, right? So that's one way that you can also go about it. You can also buy contracts, buy traffic. This is not human trafficking. I don't know how people misconstrue this point. Like, is it human trafficking that mega companies sell your data as leads to another? Like, no, like you're not crying about that. So in terms of this, there's basically marketplaces. You can hit me up for a list of them. I'm not going to be listing them down here below, but you can purchase the contract for an existing or a new model to manage them on behalf of whoever signed them. So basically similar to the above here, like you have people who have all of these leads of models that want to work with agencies, and they don't have homes to go to. You can come in and just say like, hey, look, for sending me the lead of this model, like for pointing her in my direction, I can give you a fee. Like it's that simple. And again, that's mutually beneficial because now the model, she's going to be able to earn with somebody who is hopefully you going to be able to deliver a good result to her. So it's mutually beneficial. And the guy who like through-billed you, who created that connection gets reciprocated as well. So you can also buy model contracts. This can fast track and circumvent things a lot better, but you sometimes get a lower lead quality. That's just nature of the game. Right, so we have another thing that I'm touching on here. You've got ads. Now, you can do ads, but I'm by no means a specialist, and I've succeeded significantly without ever touching an ads manager in my life, except for recently in scaling some of the marketing methods that we run within the agency. So you can run like DM ads, type form ads, you can run static visual ads or even short video ads with like UGC creators, and both of these will convert to the degree that you can carry it out well. Like I said here, I'm going to keep this super simple. I've never really touched ads in regards to running them for my models, but I know people that do. I know people that have massive success with it. If you are a bit of an ads demon, you might want to jump on and just run this. Probably works significantly better in LATAM countries versus T1 countries, but I feel like your cost per lead and cost per booked call and stuff, it's probably going to be kind of higher within T1 countries, but you probably will go on to sign maybe better quality talent. But again, that's just like a method that you can do. I just wanted to touch on in this video. Now, scaling. This is probably a little bit more interesting, like I say, to existing agencies. So hopefully they've skipped to this part of the video if they need to. But if not, it's also probably significantly interesting to anybody watching this video, because now you're thinking, all right, well, now I've got the basic frameworks, I've got some action underway, what do I do next? And side note, if you've liked this video so far, this is not even the tip of the iceberg. We go into significant more depth. This is just a top level overview to get those unaware, aware, and progressing, so they can reach the stage that you do require guidance, and then you can come and reach out to me to scale that. So the first thing that we have here is volume. Now, this is probably the easiest scaling protocol, is just to increase volume, like increase number of accounts that you outreach from, increase number of DMs that you are sending, increase number of methods that you are running for outreach. So, you know, you might be doing outbound already, then you might create more personal accounts, you might create more model accounts, well, you might even actually now create a personal brand, you might actually now start networking, so you can increase like the number of things you do. You can also increase the platform. I didn't even touch on that above, but Instagram was like the main focus here, and it's going to be the godsend, the king of the hill, versus, you know, Twitter, Reddit, which you can do, which again, Reddit can kind of work, and there's some methods that we have in regards to that. So just increasing volume is like the easiest way. Automating this, so again, I'm not going to go into no fancy schmancy like automations with Zapier and all of this there, which you can probably do if you're a bit of a demon in that. Again, I've succeeded without. You probably just go ahead and get some virtual assistants which you can plug and play onto these accounts, which carry out your process. This is the easiest way to do it. VAs probably cost anywhere between $1.5 and $3 to carry this task out, and you can just pay them based on the KPI of having to reach certain targets that are outbound. And then you can have maybe like a manager or yourself to begin with. Go and what accounts they was outbounding to make sure that they are also in line with your requirements. You can automate some of that process there. And again, like if you've got like 10 accounts, well, you sitting down and sending all the DMs probably take you hours. But if you've got a little team and an army of VAs doing it, well, you've freed up a lot of your time and bought a lot of your time back whilst increasing volume, whilst increasing output, which is what we're consistently trying to do as a business owner. Quality. Another easy scaling protocol is increase your quality. So increase your outbound. So again, like I said here, the principles apply across everything. You're outbound, so you can increase the quality of the profile that you're DMing from, the profile that you're DMing to, increase the quality of your intro message, increase the quality of your nurture sequence, your call booking sequence, your even calls. On inbound, you can obviously, like I said, optimize your personal brand, your network, and how many conversations you're having with relevant people, where you're positioning yourself. That kind of tied in here. And also, yeah, like I say, optimizing on inbound, you know, like, does your profile look like? Have you started creating content that funnels these people through? Are they even aware that you could go on to help them? And then tracking. This is like super key if you want to do it. Something that no one does, but if you want to scale, you should start to track. And the reason I say like no one does is because at the start, I definitely didn't do this and I had a lot of success without it. But as like an agency, if you want to start building a business, then this is what you need to do. What gets measured gets managed. And that's just like a saying that basically shows on like what you are aware of. We'll go on to ensure the results are consistently climbing. So KPIs that you can track is DMs sent, response rate, and let's see, what did I say that this was? Nurture sequence entered, calls set, calls closed, revenue generated, cost, and then obviously then you've got your ROI that you can generate from that. So why I said all of this is because, for example, if you've got like 100 DMs sent, you've got a response rate of 5, so you've got a 5% response rate. You've got so for example, out of the 5, you then maybe put the next message through and got a response to that. That would be a nurture sequence. Say that's then like 2. Say call set is like 1. At these metrics and go, where is the biggest problem of my funnel here, right? And so this is where you can deep dive into it. Say, for example, you've sent 1,000 DMs and you've only got like 1 reply, or you've probably got a front end problem here that you need to solve in regards to your outbound message. This helps to become a little bit more of a data-driven company so you can optimize for each facet. So I kind of went through a lot, boys. This has been an hour-long video. Damn, I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be like 25 minutes of my time, but here I am giving it all up for you. So anyway, to round off / closing notes, I think that's all, or at least what I was willing to commit for this video today. I haven't really got much left more in the tank. I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed and most importantly, learn a thing or 8. Like you probably learned a bunch here. Now do me a favor and repay the kind attention that you've just devoted to me and go and take action. As at the end of the day, that is all that matters. If you take one thing from this video, and if one even anything from what I mentioned above, it's like just go and take action. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. You're going to learn significantly more from taking action, and you're actually going to materialize your result faster. And anyway, subscribe, like the video, then man there. Make sure to go ahead and follow me on Instagram because you get like more life updates, and also you'll increase my follower count so I can make my personal brand look a bit better for when I'm outreaching to models, and hell, we can just even connect there. Check out some more videos on this channel and comment below what you want to see more of. Let me know if you liked the format of this video, and I'm going to catch you in the next one. Let's go.